Oftentimes, when I hear a person speak about an individual can do better regarding who he or she is in a relationship with, it typically boils down to how the person looks. And of course, people use a scale of 1 to 10 regarding how people look. And looks are not everything. I remember growing up and I'd see entertainers, like rappers, and they'd have these women in videos. And then you'd see the woman that they actually married. And in a lot of times, they didn't marry the quote-unquote video vixens, those models who were in the videos. They married women who were more like plain Jane. It's kind of like, why is that? If those women who look that way, why didn't they marry those women? Why did they choose someone else instead? And the thing is, it's not about looks. And even on the scale of 1 to 10, a person may be a 2 or a 5 in human terms, but maybe a 10 on God's scale. Remember in 1 Samuel 16, when Samuel was sent to Jesse's house to anoint one of his sons as king, when he saw Eliab, Jesse's eldest son, he assumed because of his height or stature that he was going to be the one. Remember, the Lord said he doesn't look at people the way men do. He doesn't look at their height or stature, but rather he looks at their heart. God seeks those who are after his own heart. Do not be enamored by his height or stature. He wanted a man after his own heart. But get this, even though the Lord chose David, and the Lord said he didn't look at people's outward appearance, the Bible does let us know that David was handsome. So it's not that the Lord doesn't see looks, but that is not his focus. And likewise for children of God, looks cannot be your focus. I remember seeing a video recently, and a lady I didn't recognize until I saw her name, and I had to look it up. And she's someone who many people would call attractive, say for example, 10 years ago. But now she has an affliction where her face has been disfigured. So imagine if you married or got in a relationship with someone because of how the person looks, and then things change. Likewise, I mentioned about height or stature a while ago. Imagine being a woman and you want a man who's more than 6 feet tall, and you marry that man, and the man gets into an accident or comes up with diabetes and legs are amputated or the person's wheelchair bound, and then that 6-foot man is now 4 feet 11. How would you handle such a situation? So we have to be careful. And recently I did a video about not getting caught up in human standards, because some people, if they listen to the naysayers about you can do better, they'll choose someone based on height, stature, or other statistics as opposed to the person's heart, because that is the thing that typically does not change. And if it changes, it may actually get better. But looks typically go downhill. No matter how hard we try, we eventually age. Not everyone is going to be like Abraham's wife, Sarah, who even in her latter years, other men were lusting after her, and he took her into their harems. So be not enamored by a person's height, stature, or looks. It's about the person's heart. Is the person after God's heart? And in the story of Ruth and Boaz, many people look at that as being a great love story. But people can look at Ruth and they could have said, you can do better. They could have looked at Boaz and they could have said, you can do better. After all, Ruth is a Moabitess. She's a widow. You can find another woman. But in Ruth chapter 3, verse 10, Boaz told Ruth about, he blessed her, because when she approached Boaz for a relationship, Boaz complimented her because she didn't go after someone who people could have said that she would have done better by going after someone who was younger or richer. So Boaz complimented her that she approached him as opposed to going for a younger man, someone whether richer or poorer, but because he had youth on his side. So do not be enamored by a person's height, stature, or other statistics. Look at the person's heart, and especially if that's someone the Lord has presented to you, or if the Lord's presenting you to that person for a relationship. Trust the Lord that he has examined that person, and that the person's shape may change over the years, but the person's heart will remain inclined to him and also to you. I pray this message has been a blessing. God bless you, and Jesus Christ is Lord.